Hey guys, so today I'm just going to start with a question, and it's a question that I'd like you all to answer to yourselves. Do you know the role that you play in your own suffering? So I'll say that again for those at the back. Do you understand the role that you play in your own suffering? And this is an important thing. Sorry, we're just going to head towards Loughborough Junction, see what's going on down this way for a change. But I reflected yesterday after I went for that walk and I made the video, and I kind of let you guys know that it's okay not to be okay. And I think that's a very important message. It is okay not to be okay. There doesn't have to be a reason. There doesn't have to be an explanation. It's okay not to be okay. But actually, if we're working towards the point where we're trying to help ourselves and to work on ourselves and find and identify areas to work on, because let's face it guys, nobody's perfect. Nobody walking this earth is perfect, and we all have flaws, and we all have things that we can work on. So do you understand the role that you play in your own suffering? Do you know your areas of improvement? So let me explain myself a bit more. Sometimes when we're in a bad spot, you know, we feel all the emotions, we go through the grieving processes, you know, we might go through relationships, friendships, we might lose people, and we go through our own processes. And it tends to be whatever it takes for us to heal. You know, some of us are better at reflecting than others, so let's be honest. But some people, they're just doing what they can do to heal out here. And to be honest, life is hard and we have to kind of find a way to move on. However, if you find a lot like myself at times, that some of the things that kind of go on in your life are just repeated patterns of stuff. So, you know, relationships where people kind of do the same things, you know, maybe struggling to ask for help, you know, you're always on your own, you struggle to ask for help. Any of these things. And there's so many more things. Like, are you actually sitting down and looking at stuff? So everybody's different, guys. And sometimes we have conflict with people that's unavoidable. Okay? We have conflict that can be unavoidable. But sometimes, guys, if you are constantly arguing with people, do you ever sit down and think, maybe I could be the problem? So maybe it's the way I communicate that pushes people away. And I know it's difficult because nobody wants to actually look at themselves and think that they're contributing to their own suffering. So if we go back to yesterday, as I took that walk around the block, and I said, you know, I've got all of these things going on. You know, I'm a carer, I'm a therapist working, I've got my own relationship struggles, I've got other things going on in my life. It's the cost of living, so everybody's got financial things going on. And there's not really a lot you can do about those things, okay? So you can't change necessarily all of your circumstances. You can't magic money into your bank account, okay? You can't suddenly walk out on the person that you're caring for. But what you can do, and what you can always do, is manage your stress container. And how you manage your stress container with things that you can't necessarily change or control is you ask for help sometimes. And you look at that situation and be like, who can help me with this? And who can help me with that? And I really struggle with that. So self-awareness, guys, is a journey, not a destination. And I feel like sometimes people can feel like they've already made it, they've arrived. But even someone who works on being self-aware as part of a job, I know that I'm not there. There's areas that I need to develop in. There's areas of myself that I haven't even identified to work on. And self-awareness is quite deceptive in the sense that it requires feedback. And how many of us actually accept feedback? Do we even welcome feedback? Because I come across a lot of people these days that will not even accept an opinion that differs from their own. So are the people around you, are they echo chambers? Do they just agree with you? Because feedback is very important in developing self-awareness. And your self-awareness is what will get you out of trouble sometimes, you know? So being reasonably self-aware, because I'll say I'm reasonably self-aware because I'm not entirely self-aware, nor do I claim to be. I kind of understood and reflected how I've played into my own suffering in the last couple of weeks. So I've mentioned, you know, being a carer and it being stressful, but I have loads of friends. And I also yesterday said, you know, sometimes they don't delve, but I don't open up. So in that sense, I'm playing into my own suffering because I have people there that are open to helping me, but I choose not to ask for help. So asking for help or not asking for help is the first way that, you know, you can play into your own suffering. So I'm just using my examples, but there's so many more. The next one, relationships. So we look at relationships and, you know, we're always upset when they break down. When relationships break down, I think it's always quite sad. And some people realize things, you know, you can feel like you failed. But actually, I don't think there's any time wasted in life. So I feel like if you've been with a person, you've had good times, bad times, any times, and you've learned something from it, it's not a waste of time. But what I will say is red flags. How many of us are still ignoring red flags? You know, there's a saying that the red flags that you ignore in the beginning will be the reason that things end. You know, how good are we at recognizing red flags? And it's all great that we recognize it, because I kind of did in my last relationship. And so said, so done. It was the same reason why the relationship broke down. The issues that were the red flags for me in the beginning, the emotional unavailability, the unreliability, things like that. It's the same reason it ends. So as well as recognizing red flags, guys, are we acting on red flags? And how we act on red flags is by having difficult conversations early. If we see something that, you know, is in our gut, are we having these conversations early and saving ourselves pain later on? Because we will save ourselves pain. We will. You know, boundaries is another one. So I mentioned I have someone staying with me. Are we implementing boundaries? Because that's another way how we contribute to our own suffering. So are we understanding boundaries? Because, you know, I work a lot as a therapist as well as a carer, but empathy is a big thing that we're trained to work on as therapists. But it's empathy v sympathy. And I still fall into the sympathy trap. So if I was to try to give you guys an analogy to describe empathy as opposed to sympathy, if you can imagine someone drowning in the sea and you're just walking by minding your business and you see this person drowning and you don't call 999, you don't look for help, you jump straight in and you're going to rescue that person, you know, and that person's going to cling on to you and the chances are you're both going to drown, as opposed to saving people. So that will be calling 999, trying to make the area safe before you then dive in to attempt to save this person. You cannot rescue people because you cannot save someone that doesn't want to be saved. And in fact, rescuing is a way that we contribute to our own suffering, because we're trying to save people at the cost of not looking at our own things that we need to do. So focusing on this person that needs our help, they're broken, they need fixing. But actually, do we not have stuff of our own that we need to? So rescuing. So I'm saying the difference between empathy and sympathy. It's okay to empathize with someone, to support someone, to stand alongside them as they make those changes themselves. But trying to fix them, trying to make them do more than they're capable of because it makes you feel better, trying to do more for them than they're doing for themselves, is rescuing. And rescuing doesn't save anybody. It just leads to burnout. No one in this life is coming to save you. You have to save yourself. And there are so many ways in which we contribute to our own suffering. You know, we're constantly doing the same things and expecting different results. You know, we have to look very, very closely at ourselves from time to time and be like, Where's this self-awareness led me? You know, have I pushed people away? Are people too scared to give me their honest opinion? You know? Me asking for help, yeah, I'm very proud, I'm independent. Nobody can say anything about me. No one can say that I asked them for anything. When you're drowning, and the only thing that, you know, you need is some support, why wouldn't you ask for it? And that's what we have to really ask ourselves. Why do we ignore the things sent to teach us? Why do we ignore the lessons that we've learned? Why do we continue to contribute to our own suffering? Because we don't have to. We don't have to. We need to have really honest conversations with ourselves, guys. Honest conversations with ourselves, because we're not here for long. You know, if you're constantly having situations occur in your life, constantly people are telling you that, you know, they can't talk to you, we have to listen. We have to listen. We're contributing to our own suffering and wondering why we're in pain. And we don't have to. So, my reflections from yesterday and the things that I've identified for myself to work on is to learn to ask for help. Get better at asking for help, Liana. Get better at asking for help, because you need it from time to time. You know, don't ignore the red flags, because it will cost you. It will hurt in the end. You can't ignore things in your own life. You can't not put boundaries. Yes, I want to help people. Yes, I want to support people. But rescuing is not healthy. Yeah, this is still Brixton.
What do you mean?
Guys, I hope it helps. Just remember that self-awareness, it's a journey, not a destination. And we got to start contributing to our own suffering now. You know, how we make the world a better place is by making ourselves better, one person at a time. I'm gonna take a walk back now. But hopefully, guys, you have a good Sunday. Hopefully nothing more bad happens on the ends. And yeah, I'll see you again real soon.